So, thank you, dear Lambert, honourable members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the invitation and thanks for the great talk. I will focus on upscaling because I agree with all the things you said about interoperability, 5G, etc. But I was asked to focus especially on upscaling. I will give you a brief introduction to Amsterdam Smart City, and most probably our brochure will be there at the end of this meeting. We send it in. There you have much more information, and of course you can ask me. It's a bit short time to explain everything we do. I will give you some highlights from the research on upscaling we have done with our partners, and then I'll end with some recommendations on upscaling for Europe and about open and shared data. So I'm responsible for the European strategy of Amsterdam Smart City, and I would like to explain firstly what Amsterdam Smart City is actually as an organization. It is a platform for the exchange, acceleration and development of smart city solutions. We have local governments, knowledge institutes, businesses and grassroots initiatives as partners, and our approach is very bottom-up. All partners are equal. So the City of Amsterdam or any other partner do not prescribe a big master plan for smart cities, but we do connect partners. We try to accelerate solutions that may prove to have sound business models, and we try to help our partners to remove obstacles that are in the way of their solution. Being there for almost 7 years, with now over 100 partners and more than 90 projects in our portfolio, we also are facing the challenge of scaling up. We have, for example, an open data energy atlas that is working in Amsterdam and that we're trying to scale up in the region, in the rest of the Netherlands and in the rest of Europe. But that is facing some barriers. I will get to that later. We also have an iBeacon mile in Amsterdam. So if you are in Amsterdam this summer, this spring, you should test it. It's between the Central Station and the European Presidency building, the Scheepvaartmuseum. And it's very interesting because it's the first LoRa working iBeacon mile where every app developer or anyone else with a creative idea can test their apps in real life. So that's 2 kilometers of iBeacons. Interesting, it is first in the world. So on upscaling for knowledge partners, the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences is currently doing a great research in upscaling. Their research lecturer Willem van Winden and his team have studied a large number of our projects. And his vision is that you have to be very clear about what you mean exactly by upscaling, already at the start of a pilot or a demonstration project in order to be successful. In most of the communication about smart cities, upscaling is the buzzword, but it's a bit of a fuzzy concept. What actually do we mean by upscaling of a solution? You could mean rollout, that would be a further application of the solution that is tested in a pilot, and then a further application in an organization, in a city or in a market. This is the simplest form of upscaling, and it's often the case where you have a solution in one organization with a good business plan and a successful pilot. The context is the least relevant compared to other forms of upscaling. More complex is expansion. It could be the expansion of a solution to a larger geographical area, to more functionalities or to more partners. This type of upscaling is typically for platform solutions, where the value of the solution grows with the number of partner organizations. So you see this in circular economy projects, where waste of one company is used as input for another company, or for shared data projects like our Energy Atlas, where the solution becomes more interesting and useful when more parties add their data. A big obstacle for expansion could be negotiations with new partners, new geographical conditions. In this form of upscaling, the context is very important. And the third form of upscaling is the most complex, and I think this is the form Europe really wants. It's replication. This could mean doing the same project in another part of the same city with the same partnership, with a new partnership, or in other cities. It could be done by the original partners of the first solution or by others. In this case, the context is highly relevant. A typical barrier, especially for database solutions, is the lack of standards we have in the world, not only in Europe, the lack of open data formats and the lack of protocols. And the willingness of partners, for example energy companies, to share their data is highly important. In a broader sense, reporting about upscaling projects will often be a story or even a toolkit about the successful implementation of the technology. So that's how we did it, and this is the steps we take. And the research of the Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences says that it's better to have a detailed report of the context, the design process of your solutions, and all the difficulties you tackled along the way. In other words, the stuff you learn from. To share our experiences and precisely this kind of information, we will launch next week in Amsterdam a new community-based platform. It's at amsterdamsmartcity.nl. And yeah, write it down, go there from next week, because you can see all the experiences, also the failures, and you can exchange experiences and even start collaborating there. Otherwise it would have been in the brochure, but now I'm mentioning it here. So I will conclude with my recommendations. All the things Roberto said, the 5G, digital connectivity, broadband, it's highly important for the business models you develop. I will focus on a few special ones of them. Things like the signing of the Pact of Amsterdam, so the definition of the European urban agenda, where cities are connected to making European policy on certain subjects, it's key, because cities are the places where the innovations takes place, and they're open to share their experience to improve EU policies. So we're actually very proud that it's called the Pact of Amsterdam, obviously. The EU could also support more research on scaling up and what it is and how you actually replicate, because that's most of the time it's accepted as an idea that you are going to replicate the solutions afterwards, that you do things to replicate, to know how to replicate. But that's actually the challenge we are all facing as smart cities. And I will email you the research paper to share. That could be interesting. It is also essential to define before supporting a pilot project what you mean by upscaling and what you expect as European Commission, for example, or as a city afterwards. And yeah, digital single market, that's what I said. And to support organizations or give them incentives to share their data, because Amsterdam is very far in that, but we meet often partners in projects who aren't able or aren't willing to share their data. And I think for smart cities it's very important to know what you're doing, to measure what you're doing, and you need data for that. And the final recommendation, please ask projects to report about things that didn't work the moment they made a U-turn, because that's where we really start learning and start innovating. Thank you.